Hey guys, so today I want to talk about the difference between practice and rehearsal. And in my opinion, this is a very important thing in magic, which is very under talked about. Because I used to have sort of a problem, right? So when I was younger, I would perform a lot of magic. I got to perform a lot, like I was in high school, and I could just perform in all the breaks, perform after school, perform before school, and even I would skip some classes just to perform magic to people. There were always people free to perform for. The problem was that what I noticed is whenever I picked up a new routine, I would do the routine. And the first 10, 20 times I would do the routine, the reactions wouldn't be like I wanted them to. They wouldn't be that great. And I was sort of still struggling through the motions. You might say practice more, right? But after 20, 30 times, those routines, they got better and better. And I got to a point where people would start to react the way that I imagined they could to the routine. And the routine reached the strength it could. And this is something that you're never going to get rid of. So you're never going to get rid of the fact that you have to practice, and especially in front of people, or rather rehearse, that you have to perform for people. You're never going to get rid of that, because there's just some things that you come up with in front of people that you would have never imagined in your own room. Or there's some jokes that your audience are going to react to or tell you that you can trigger that response in them more, right? So there's just some things you cannot learn here sitting practicing in your room. But I started to wonder if there is a way to get rid of those first 20, 30 times. Because it's not a big deal, it's not a big problem. But especially now that I'm working, I get to perform less for people. And when I perform, it's more often in a professional environment. And I also want to put a certain kind of quality out there. I don't just want to do 20 effects 20 times that are okay, and then get them to a point where they're great. Or maybe they're not, and I find it out after 20, 30 times, and I wasted 20, 30 performances on doing them. So one thing that helped me a lot with that was a concept that I first read from Eugene Berger. He has this book called Teaching Magic, I believe. And Eugene, in this book, he talks about the difference between practice and rehearsal. I know Ascanio also talks about it, but for me, that didn't connect as much, probably because now, A, I was younger, and B, I had translation, and C, I wasn't familiar with the Spanish school back then. But the interesting thing about Eugene, when he talks about it, is he says that when you're practicing, you're going through the motions, right? So you're going through the motions, you're making sure you can do all the technique properly and smoothly, and that the aesthetic is a good one, that what you want to create with it. But then we get to a point where we're going to rehearse. So when we're going to rehearse, we're going to write down our script. He says script. For me, I don't think you need necessarily a script, but we'll come back to that in a later conversation, a later video. But I think you can have a loose script. You can just have a concept written down, what you want to express, or what this thing is that you're showing them, and then play with that. So you write down your script, or your loose script. You know the motions, and you are going to perform as if you're there for real people. So you're in your room alone, like a complete madman going insane, just for an imaginary person. We'll call him Steve, and we're gonna have Steve pick a card and talk to Steve. And we're gonna do this a lot. And what you'll start to notice is that you start to realize the right moment to say certain things. And at the same time, you come up with certain ideas which might work great in performance, or certain aesthetical details. Things you would not have come up with if you were just to practice it in your room without talking and just going through the motions. It's also much more fun to rehearse like this, but also you can really work on your intention in the effect, and you can start to put in things there that will transmit the thing that you want to share to the audience. So for me, that really helped, because now those 20, 30 times, maybe still need some time to get into it with people, because of course it's going to be less good for real people than for Steve, the imaginary person, but it doesn't take 20, 30 times anymore, because when I'm starting to perform it, it's already polished, because I'm already teaching myself what to say at what time, and at the same time, I'm teaching myself misdirection, right? Because we could want to do a pass, and we know if we do a pass and there's nothing to look at, we should look up at the audience. The problem with that, though, is that if I only practice that without the looking up, and I know the concept of doing it, that I have to do two separate things in the moment. I'm going to be here, I'm going to look up, and I'm going to do the pass. Problem though, when you do the pass, when you look up for the pass and to do it with your body, it's like a whole body movement. So you're here, you relax with the whole body, then you do the pass, right? Because you look with your body at something. It's not just your eyes. At least if you want someone to look at you. And doing this makes it like sort of become one, like yin and yang, if you're rehearsing it. So if you are literally rehearsing it every time, you're also practicing doing that motion. And that really, really helps you in performance because you don't have to think about that anymore and it becomes natural. So that was my little rambling about rehearsal versus practice. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it and you want to ask me or Alvaro a question, please just comment below, ask us a question, and also like, subscribe, and share the video. That really helps us. So I'll see you guys next time and have a great one.